This is Average Sports.
By your average guys,
Eric.
and Ty. That would be so bad.
Yeah. This is Average Sports.
Your average sports.
Average Sports.
Thanks for tuning into another episode
You're
of
listening to Average Sports with your average guys.
Average Sports, average guys, Eric and Ty.
It's 2020 what? 22, that's right. And it's season 5. Ooh. Are we getting too old for this, Eric?
4 years down.
Yeah, wow.
Season number 5.
How about that? Let's do it. Let's jump right into it.
Yes, let's do it.
So it's already about a month into this year. Enough stuff has been happening, but a lot more is already coming down the pike. So this episode, we're going to just kind of focus on what has happened in the last, weeks?
Yeah.
Almost months. I mean, it's been about 2 months since we actually have done this. So there's plenty to cover. Eric,
Yeah.
let's talk about it.
So before we do that,
Oh, wow.
we're bringing back Would You Rather for
okay.
another season. It got picked up.
Oh, it did
We're
it.
extending it another season.
I didn't know this.
Yes. Oh, surprise.
Okay.
Just throwing something at the producer here.
The marketing
Run with
team
it.
didn't let me know about that.
It's not marketing team. That's the production
That's
team.
just co-host
Pretty sure
antics. Is that what's happening?
That's you.
Okay. Well,
Not that deep. Anyway, would you rather go a week without internet or a week without your phone?
so I would have free reign on my own computer.
Just not on the internet.
No, if I went without my phone, I can be on the
Yes.
computer with the internet. Yeah,
Correct.
of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking.
You can make calls on your computer too if you needed to.
I mean, technically,
There's all
now you
kinds of-
can, yeah. Mm-hmm. I was thinking the same thing because I'd be on my iPad.
I wouldn't be out too much. Yeah, the phone. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
How many people are actually calling people nowadays anyway?
Not as much. Business purposes, perhaps, but even a lot of that's texting, you know. The only time I would be, like, I would have to maybe bring a book into the toilet. That's all.
Yeah.
Maybe figure something else out to
magazine.
do. No quick toilet games. It's only...
Oh, goodness.
All
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's funny that you mentioned that. I texted several of my clients today.
That's how it works, man. That is
and
2022.
they all responded.
And that's right.
Yep.
It's a hell of a lot easier because they can talk to you on their time. That's how it works in this day and age.
Yep.
Well, how are sports working out this year? Because this is a new era that we know we've been in it since 2020, but now it's like we're conditioned for it. The pandemic is still upon us. I mean, accept it. It's there. It's going on. And it has affected, I think, the sports that I've seen get affected the most, hockey and basketball. And hockey in particular, for a while in December, it seemed like, oh, geez, I mean, are they going to shut down the season or what's going on? It seemed a little hairy there for a moment.
Yeah, I mean, several teams had to postpone a bunch of games. Canada is still not letting, at least in some of the provinces, not letting fans even into the building. Some are going half capacity. And it is becoming, one of those things that is still continuing to grow.
Sure.
Basketball and hockey are definitely being heavily impacted by it by now, and a more contagious strain of the virus is certainly to be the reason here, as opposed to some other seasons. But the NFL has also been impacted, but the NFL has really shown that they don't give an F about anything other than teams you show up on game day, and it really doesn't matter who is on that COVID-19 list. And even then, we talked about this, that they reduced the amount of days that someone would have to be on the list, and they changed the rules at the end of the season.
Yeah, it was very progressive because at first they had these policies and like, oh, wait a minute. We're going to have to do what? And they're like, well, we've already extended the season. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I mean, and we've talked about it, a lot of players' frustrations that, like, I'm going to get over it. We're healthy enough. And I could see that the chronic testing can get old with a lot of those players.
Yeah, and I can see that with them. It wasn't just in football that we had some people outspoken. We had some big time hockey players say the same thing, and Yeah, I'm not surprised that it got a little bit much for them. They'd want to speak out. I know that they all want to be safe and be in a safe environment, but I think they wanted to kind of find that balance there for them. So, that's been one of the big news stories for sure that we have. Some of the other stuff. So we do have another episode coming out here right before the Super Bowl. So we're going to talk a lot of football on that one, including recapping the playoffs and everything. But we still want to talk a little bit about the big news. That this isn't really something that would belong in the playoff story. And I see you looking at it right now at your screen. Number 12.
This guy?
Tom Brady, TB12, has officially retired. So it was, he did retire, and then he didn't retire, and then he did retire. It's a little bit of back and forth there. But from Tom Brady, he's officially decided to retire after 2 seasons in Tampa Bay.
Hey, man. I mean, whether you're winning a Super Bowl or losing the playoffs, I mean, yeah, that's good. Great. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for the guy. I don't know.
22 years in the
It's NFL. Amazing that he's played this long. That's what really all it is.
Yeah,
it's like, geez.
He's not a kicker playing 22 seasons.
No. It's like, I don't know. It's weird that it's like, okay, great. It's not news to me. It's like, oh, wait, why wasn't he retired already? Oh, yeah, because he's still winning football games.
Yeah,
but
it's just finally happened.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, I mean, his statistics this year were
killer.
Great. He didn't look like he's lost a ton of arm strength. And, given he had some of the best receivers available to him, and I think that not having Chris Godwin in the playoffs definitely hurt. Not having Antonio Brown, as crazy as he was, those two did seem to be on the same page when he was on the field. Not having him and really only being down to Evans and Gronk, I think, was kind of a big deal. So,
Hey, I mean,
they almost made the comeback again.
Yeah.
Down, 27-3 or whatever it was. So, good for them. But it is finally the end of the era. It's kind of like, wow, it finally happened. You just never thought it would happen because he just kept playing into his mid-40s. So
right, you just kind of let the movie play out until like you wake up and like, oh, the credits are rolling. Oh, all right, yeah. All right. What else is on?
I fell asleep. Okay,
okay. So I mean, that's right how I feel about it. I think real quick though, you glossed over the Antonio Brown bit. That was a big deal. I mean, at least for just kind of major networks to pick up because it once again it was trying to get forced into a storyline of what am I trying to say? The emotional aspect,
like the emotion, or like the instability, the mental instability.
Sure, there's a lot of that finger pointing, and then there's interviews like, "No, I'm fine."
Yeah,
Antonio Brown saying, "I did not feel like I associated with this team well, and I had enough with it. I had a breaking point, and that's that. That's that."
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting situation to see that happen. It was unique. I don't know that I've ever physically seen that happen ever, and in such a very Antonio Brown way. So.
It's a very wide receiver thing to do, right? It fits the bill for being just a,
very Terrell Owens-esque.
Yeah. I had to think about Terrell Owens earlier.
Yeah,
when that was going on. Like,
I
remember those sit-ups during the press conference. That was great.
Oh, my God. Yeah, with Drew Rosenhaus.
Yeah.
In his front yard.
Love it.
Just the lawyer that he is.
There's not a better moment in terms of off-the-field moments for sports.
It was very, very full of antics.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, baseball. Man, dude. The lockout, like we're going to add more just frustration to a sport that I think we've talked about that it could have handled, how the pandemic was played, and especially in 2020, their season was like, they still had a chance of playing a pretty full season and they couldn't figure it out. Like, it's like, once again, we're seeing winter camps should be starting here very soon.
Yeah, there's definitely, from all reports, it looks like as of today, there's going to be a delay within at least spring training getting started. So I would not expect the season to start on time. My guess is that it will still end on time, and they will probably just shorten the season, most likely at minimum shorten spring training. I don't know really how that plays out for teams in general, because it's really more just kind of scouting your young guys and wanting to get your pitchers and catchers going. I think that's where we're going to have the biggest impact, is getting pitchers and catchers warmed up and going.
Yeah, you would just hate to hear any, I don't know, he didn't have enough time getting ready. I hate throwing that excuse out.
Yeah.
But do you know anything much about what's happening right now?
Nope.
Looking up on MLB.com, the union is the one who is, the players' union is saying no to the MLB's latest offering, like their proposal to get to where they need to be, to finding an agreement. That's where they're at. I mean, so
no,
MLB.
I saw the report today, but I haven't read any articles,
any details about it. Okay.
So yeah, I haven't dug in.
Yeah.
To some specifics about it. I just saw that it looked like that really wasn't going to happen today. And really, the major story for today was the Brian Flores story, not really the MLB negotiations falling flat.
What happened to Brian Flores?
Brian Flores, a former head coach of the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, we're going back to... okay. I was like, who's Flores in baseball? I don't know.
Well, that's the headline that dominates today, is that he's suing the league, the Miami Dolphins, the New York Giants, and the Denver Broncos over like racial situations and like falsely bring him in for interviews. So the big evidence that came out of it was that Bill Belichick sent Brian Flores a text that was meant to go to, I can't think of his name, the new head coach of the Giants, congratulating him on the job and getting it. They came from, he was the Buffalo offensive coordinator. I can't think of his name right now. And Brian Flores, that text was not meant for him. Although maybe it was, because Bill Belichick is a salty dude and lost 2 Super Bowls to the Giants, so who knows? But
who knows?
Brian Flores, in my opinion, should never have been fired from the Dolphins. I thought he has done a great job with a really bad roster for 2 years. So, and then the evidence or the claim that came out that the Dolphins owner Ross was paying Flores, or offered Flores, $100,000 per game that he lost in 2020 during the tanking season, so that they would get a better pick in the draft. So those are some of the claims that are coming out. Those are some pretty big claims. The thing against the Broncos is that Elway showed up late and drunk to the interview and really had no intentions of hiring him. So we'll see how it plays out. That was a big story that obviously took over the MLB Players Association, MLB negotiations in general. So,
God, I mean, what?
I personally think it's time for Elway to go.
I mean, if that's how
such a poor, even beyond this, he's done such a poor job running that team.
Oh yeah,
and finding the next big quarterback.
Right.
That's the whole
no, that's been a saga. Like, of course, you brought Peyton Manning in. Great. I mean, were you really surprised that the team did well? You had a stellar defense and good offense, and then you throw in this Hall of Fame quarterback. I wonder what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So ever since then, though, that Super Bowl year,
it's been been the rotating door.
Yeah, they've gone through like the most quarterbacks in the league.
I don't know if that's it, but they're up there with the Jets.
They're up there.
They're up there with the Jets.
Whoa. We'll have to look that up. But I bet Denver took it.
Oh, they're up there.
For how many starting quarterbacks they've had?
They are up there.
Yeah, anyway.
So.
All right. Well, I do want to quickly say, because we were on track with baseball and I was looking at their website, is that the bright side is Shohei Ohtani is on the cover of The Show video game. So you can always pick up the 2022
The Show.
Yeah. No, he's looking good on that cover, by the way.
Of course he is.
He's looking sharp. That man has done nothing but keep his image like
Well, do everything he
pristine
needs
for
to do,
baseball. Yeah, he's doing
except
everything.
he plays for the Angels. So
That's true. He picked the wrong franchise.
never go
He did
anywhere.
back the wrong horse with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll cover certainly on what's happening across all the major leagues in the U.S., what hockey's up to.